Welcome everyone to Passive House Accelerator Live, where we explore how to slash the greenhouse gas emissions from our buildings and make them more resilient to the impacts of climate change. I'm Zach Semke, director of the Accelerator, and I'm excited to welcome Neil Rosen to present Calderone Theater's journey toward LEED and Phius certification. Today's host is Shafali Sangvi of Datner Architects, and with that, Shafali, please take it away.
Okay, great. Welcome back, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. If you're in the New York City area, weather's not so great, but we just had a couple of 80-degree days, so maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll just take it. Very excited today to be joined by Neil Rosen, who is a New York State registered architect, a LEED fellow, certified passive house building consultant, and certified energy manager with over 40 years of experience in high performance building design, construction, and operations. And somehow in his free time, he's also a licensed general contractor in Florida. So, I guess never say never. There's always one more thing to do. He's a project certifier for Phius and has served national leadership roles at USGBC and currently serves on the board of USGBC Long Island. He was previously the director of sustainability at Northwell Health and has led over 20 LEED certifications. So thank you so much, Neil, for joining us today and sharing this incredible project with us.
Oh, thank you for having me. Hope everybody's enjoying their day so far. Sorry for the bad weather if you're in New York, but it is what it is. So today I'm going to talk about a project. I'm actually at the project site today, which is pretty cool, but it's an old theater. It's called the Calderone Theater in St. James, New York, kind of by Stony Brook, if anybody knows Long Island. So I'll get right to it. So it's a 100-year-old building, give or take. We're not 100% sure. We can't find the building, but we think about 1919 it shows up on the record. So a little over 100 years old. It was an old vaudeville theater, and it's surprisingly, it's still here. We don't know how it's lasted this long. It's kind of a standalone building in the middle of a town parking lot, in essence. It got wrapped around it. But it's this great theater. They use it for a community arts center now. And what recently happened and where this project started, the local town of Smithtown bought the building. And the deal was that they'll lease it to this not-for-profit, Celebrate St. James, for $1 a year forever, as long as they pay to keep the building up. And they have to renovate the building. Part of the deal is it has to get renovated and become a high-performance building. They're expecting LEED certification. That's where the town left it. They said, thou shalt do this. Now, the other reality is that the folks this not-for-profit that is going to put a theater back together and have a community center, not a big money-making operation. So we have to find a way to keep them in operation. They have to pay for their utilities. They have to pay to run this building for the rest of its life. So the $1 a year is cool, but we can't sink them with a large energy bill. So the town asked us to make the building an example of what we could do for high performance buildings. How could you make this really old building and use it as a proving ground to show that we can do better things going forward? So we took on the challenge. I got sucked onto it. It's all pro bono. We're all doing it as just for the goodness of our hearts, right? But U.S. Green Building Council, Long Island chapter, I'm on the board of directors. They called me in, asked me if I could help out, fell in love with the project, and now we're doing it. So what did they ask for? They asked for LEED certification. We're looking for gold or platinum because certified's not enough. I can do better than a 40 on the test. I want to showcase this building. I'm going to use it since it's a community center. I get to use it and highlight what we did. We got a great place. We have tours every day, in essence, of our green building. So like that quite a bit. And we want it to keep the historic nature of this building. It's not a historic building per se, but we think it's pretty cool. So seeking gold, expecting platinum, and we have to maintain the interior of the building. So we want to keep it. It's not a historic interior, but there's some cool aspects to it. So we want to keep it. But we got LEED. We have to go for LEED, and LEED costs a lot of money. If any of you have done it costs a lot of money. So how do we deal with that? So for like I said, we're all doing this without compensation, but now we have these fees. We can't get rid of the fees from USGBC. So there's certification fees. We got to find a way to get that. We got a LEED consultant. We got to find, all right, well, I'll do that. So that one's free. So we got past that one. But if you do a LEED project, we need an energy model, right? And the energy model that's required is an ASHRAE 90.1 model or a DOE2 model, however you want to phrase it. And those are not inexpensive. So any of you who have worked on it, I've seen price at $40,000, $50,000 for an energy model to get us our energy points. But it's a prerequisite. We have to do it, right? So we thought about it, and I think we found a way around it. And that's what I want to talk to you about today. So how do we do it? I want to reduce costs. So what do? My solution was to add a second certification to the project. So we're still going to go for LEED certification, but we're also going for Phius. Okay, and our expectation is we're going for Phius 0. We think we have the opportunity for the solar on the building. In fact, we have too much opportunity for solar based on the energy use of the building. So going through, we're confident to hit 0, Phius 0. So what we want to do is we want to leverage the attributes of Phius so that we could make certification less costly. How are we going to do that? Well, we're going to do the one and done process. We're going to make it, I'm going to show you how you could use just one energy model and not an ASHRAE model, but a passive house model, either PHPP or WUFI. I'm a big fan of WUFI, but equal coverage, it's okay. Passive house is good no matter what flavor you pick. So how can we do that? How can we find a way to make this all work for us? So turns out there's a alternative compliance path that's available in LEED 4.1 called EAPC 160. And it's about electrification. Now think about it, we want to electrify our passive buildings, right? But if I look at LEED and I look at the energy model they do, it's a cost-based model. And we're going to lose out. Electrical cost today is going to be higher than combusting natural gas or coal if you wanted to. So that's a problem. So we lose out on the energy points. So not only do we have to do the energy model and spend all that money, but we're not going to get a lot of points because it's a percentage reduction comparing us to the cost of an inexpensive commodity right now. So that's a problem, but we still want to electrify, right? So here's the coolest part. This is exactly verbatim from the guidance document from EAPC 160. In lieu of the requirements of the EA prerequisite, that's the energy model. We don't have to do that. We instead get to do different things. How am I going to satisfy the prerequisite? Prerequisite says thou shalt do this kind of energy model, and I'm telling you we don't have to. So how are we going to do it? So here's the deal. If we follow this alternative compliance path, all we have to do is comply with ASHRAE 90.1 2016. We got to prove that, right? Everything is documentation in LEED. We got to prove it. How do we do it? All that we require is showing that we meet the energy code of the municipality that you're in. If you, and you don't have a building if you didn't meet energy code, right? So all you have to do is meet the code. You got this part. So far, so good. The last thing we need to do is analyze efficiency measures using maybe an energy model, even using old energy models to compare things, old information. But certainly we're allowed to use our WUFI model or a PHP model to inform us of what efficiency opportunities we should accept. That's it. That's the prerequisite. We're done. Now, don't have to do the model. Now let's dive into the credit. We want these points, right? 18 available points are enormous. This is the largest credit category, 33 for energy, but we're looking just at optimize, 18 points. How are we going to get there? So this, in the alternate compliance path, it's by electrifying, they're going to give us some points. So we start out with between 4 and 7 points for reducing emissions from on-site combustion. How do we get there? So we reduce our emissions. One is with space heating. If we electrify our space heating, we get between 1 and 4 points. It's climate zone specific. So where it's more important for heating, we get more points. Here in climate zone 4, I get 3 points. So I get between 1 and 4 points just for electrifying. So we're doing that, right? We're electrifying our building, so we get a couple of free points here. If we electrify our hot water, we get another point. So these all stack up. So we're at, in my region, I'm at 4 points already. If I take care of my cooking with electricity, which I do, I think induction's better than gas anyway, and I deal with my process loads, my furnace, and anything hybrid systems, I'm good, and I could get another point. So I'm up to 5 points. And I fully expect that when I build my building, it will be emissions free from day one. So I don't go into this electrification readiness. I know it's allowable, but in this case, if I don't have it ready, but have it electrified from day one, I get another point. So up to 6 points. That's part one. Easy enough. We're doing that already for our passive houses. Now let's look at how are we going to reduce our loads. So there's 6 points available here, nothing to do with climate specific. So any climate zone gets all of these points. And depending on size of the building tells me what I need to do for air infiltration. Well, new construction 0.13 CFM at Pascal 50. That's not really, I want to be half of that, if not better, right? And I'm going to be for my passive house. So just by doing what I need to do for Phius, I'm already taking care of the infiltration. And it's telling us that we need to do a whole building test at certain size of buildings, and we're allowed to do partial testing and average it out as ASHRAE allows for larger buildings. So all good. And then we ask for balanced ventilation. Okay. So with all tenants of passive building, we're not doing anything different, right? We're just getting points for doing what we normally do. Ventilation heat recovery. Yeah, we need an ERV or an HRV, depending on where you are. And, we need some minimum efficiency. 75% isn't a hard thing to do. We're routinely seeing more efficient ERVs than this. So we just have to watch out equipment. Again, another point. So we're really starting to rack up available points here. This one's the coolest one. I love this one. We have to figure out and reduce our peak thermal loads. And in order to do it, this alternate compliance path says thou shalt use one of 2 methods to prove what you've done, PHPP or WUFI. That's it. No other choice. So they're telling us, do your WUFI model, do your PHP model, show us how you're doing, and then we'll determine how many points we could get out of that. So different projects, different climate zones will be different, but you can see from the table here, there's some nice availability of points if we keep to our passive house principles. And then we want to reduce energy use. Sounds like something we want to do anyway. We're going to start with lighting, 30% reduction in lighting. We should be able to accomplish that. And what we're doing now, not technically a passive house component per se. I mean, we do look at the lighting energy, but not a strict limit, but gives us something to target and not something that we're not able to achieve using LEDs and such like that. Then we get, again, this is a climate zone specific one. I'll show you the points in a second. But if we put in ground source heat pumps, poof, we get points. If we don't want to do ground source, if we do air source, as long as they are efficient enough, we're good. So if we have the right efficiency, the right COPs, we're going to be in a place where we're going to get that point. Then we have to show our fan power is in a good place, or there's a way to look at a different calculation for total system performance ratio. But if we follow, I know on my projects, if I can, I put in ground source. If I can, I put in really efficient air source. Either of those are going to suffice for this, and the efficiency of the fan shouldn't be a problem. Somebody's phone's ringing on me. Okay. So here's the table that tells us what we're going to get for our efficiencies, different climate zone. So if I'm 30%, if I get ground source in my climate zone, I only get 1 point. And then for the efficiencies, if I go at least 20% up, I can get another point. And that's also going to fall into our incentive programs our local utilities have. So a lot of this just makes sense doing it in any event. So we have to reduce our hot water use backwards by 20%. I know for Phius, we mandate water sense, right? It's part of the, at least for now, while there's an EPA, we have water sense. Water sense by definition is 20% better than what EPAC 1992 said, right? So technically, just by following water sense, we're gonna meet these numbers, and we'll get a point for that. Unregulated conveyance loads. All we have to do is start to show that the equipment that we put into our building, our appliances, our food service, and all meet either Energy Star or EPEAT or one of the California stuff. Again, hoping that we'll see what happens with Energy Star and as EPA goes away, how this is going to affect us. But as of today, we still have EPA. So if we have computer room stuff and it fits into certain requirements of size and load, we have to count that. And there's a way to do it just based on full performance. So we could either do prescriptive or performance, but with what we do in our passive buildings, we should be able to support that without a problem. And then, of course, we want to put in some solar if we can, and it goes either by annual energy consumption, coverage of the roof, or watts per square foot, depending on how you look at things. Now, the hard part here, this is one that we have to be careful about. People don't like this one. The attributes have to be retained by the building owner. So it's a LEED thing. Be careful about this. It means you can't really take incentives for your PV if you want to get credit in LEED, because the utility normally takes those attributes in order to give you the funding. So just be careful about that if you want to get this point or any solar point. So that's what, if you follow that alternative compliance path, we avoid a huge cost, that $40,000-$50,000 energy model. And some people could say, I could do it cheaper than that. Great. Okay, send me, let me know, because I do have to do it from time to time, and I wouldn't mind spending less money on it, although the owner's spending money, not me personally. Here's my contact information if anybody has any questions, and I think they're going to open it up for questions now, but here's where I'm at. I do work at Phius, so I'm a little biased towards Phius over PHI, but that's okay. Again, passive house is great, and my trademark, actively going passive, that's what I try to do. So hopefully you can join me. So thanks so much, and hopefully I showed you a way we could save some cash and still do some great stuff. All right. Is that good, Kim?
Great, Neil. Thank you so much. Shefali, do you have any words?
Yeah, thanks, Neil. That was really fascinating. As I can honestly say that I have never even thought of trying to use a passive house model, to meet the kind of LEED requirement. And it's really great for you to do this deep dive, because that often is a real hesitation, right? For clients to do multiple certifications. And even if you were doing like Energy Star, or if you work in New York City, like an ultra low energy building model, you can't afford to run multiple energy modeling costs. So that's really great. So I'm going to start off with a question, which is like, how did you even think of doing this? I guess it feels like you have insider knowledge, so it's easier for you to think of this as kind of a way to get around this double cost issue. But is this common knowledge? Did I miss this? Have I missed this my entire career?
Well, great question. No, no, I don't think it's there's a lot of things in the weeds if you get into LEED, and sometimes there are pilot credits that come up from time to time that they want to test to see if they're going to work. I learned about them. I used to chair the Water Efficiency Technical Advisory Group back in the day. Got to write some of V4, which was pretty cool. But so if any of you don't like the cooling tower credit, you could blame me, because I was a part of the team that wrote that. But we did have no cooling tower should have given us points, so that got taken out of the system. But they used to be. But in any event, so it's a matter of just going through pilot credits, reading through them, seeing what's out there. We keep getting hurt with electrification. It was one of the things I was trying to find a solution. Even if there's an alternate path to do a different form of the model or get different results from an ASHRAE model that helps you with electrification a little bit, but it reduces the amount of points you're allowed to get. You max out at like 14 and said, I don't want to give up any points. I want to use as many. For the good work that we do on the project, I want to get rewarded for what we can. So I kept searching, and then I bumped into this one and said, wow,
Wow.
this sounds like if I'm a passive house, I'm one and done. And as it turns out, we are.
Anyway, I'm not seeing a lot of questions in the chat, so I'm going to take this opportunity to ask all of my questions, and feel free to interrupt. But before I do, Mike, are you still there? Mike from Mithun, my friend Mike. Can I put you on the spot? Do you have any questions? Do you want to say anything?
Well, thanks for putting me on the spot, Shefali. Always appreciate that. But no, it's not. Thank you. It's good to see you again. Glad we had a chance to at least see each other virtually, being on opposite coasts.
Exactly. Yeah.
But no, I mean, what Neil shared with us today is incredible. I mean, it's there's so many pilot credits that are just buried in the pages and pages and pages of LEED. And for you to unearth this here today is actually quite fantastic. And I was just there on the side here trying to total up like all the little, you get a point for this, a point for that, and a point for that. Like, I guess my question is, do you know how many points did you get for your project by going this route away? Total points.
We're thinking we're going to get between 16 and 17. We don't have the computer. There's some points that we're just not eligible for, but we think we're pretty close to getting the maximum. So we're pretty happy about it.
Yeah, that's truly awesome. Yeah, I think that for those of us who do both Passive House and LEED projects, this was a very I don't know, fantastic discovery today. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks so much.
Yeah, I mean,
the other one.
Oh,
I'm
sorry. Go ahead, Neil.
Oh yeah, just say there's one other crazy one if it has nothing to do with this, but surrounding density, there's a alternate compliance if you just use walk score, and depending on your walk score number depends on how many points you get, and documentation is just here's my walk score. So there's some cool ACPs out there, as you said, Mike.
Yeah, I was just that walk score one is really helpful for projects that are really in dense urban environments that you kind of you can avoid doing those daily trips calculations.
Well, no, it's not daily trips. It's not transportation, right? It's going to be surrounding density.
This is
the daily trips
right.
Things that one is irksome to us here on Long Island because we can't get the transportation credit no matter what we do. And if we were, 14 miles away in New York City, we're guaranteed to get the credit. So it's a little tough. But this is just surrounding density. It'll help you with documentation, right? It takes a lot to document that. If you don't have to, just hey, here's my score. And happy. So
yeah. I was just gonna say that like so often we are in a position where we have to do either or, right? Passive house or LEED. And so to be able to take advantage of these kind of like unknown synergies means that we don't have to make, sometimes it doesn't have to be that decision because it's like, as you've said, that modeling cost is pretty significant. Where are you with Zach, were you going to say something?
Oh, I was just going to ask if people would be willing to share in chat if you are doing both Phius or both Passive House and LEED projects and kind of what type of projects you're doing in your firm. It'd be really interesting to see that. There's probably plenty of folks who are not doing that, but I bet there are some who are, and it'd be fun to get some examples.
Yeah. And then where are you with the construction on this? Because I think you said that you guys are still trying to find grant money, right?
Oh yeah, we're literally looking for grant money as we speak. We have folks from the Gardner Foundation wandering around the building right now. So yeah, we need to fund the thing. As I said, the $1 a year rent is great, but they got to pay for all renovations, and the renovation is not going to be insignificant. We're gut renovating a 100-year-old building, but that's okay. Luckily, it's a building that doesn't have a lot of windows, so that makes our Phius costs a little bit less, right? Because windows are really expensive.
Right.
So I lost my train of thought. What was I going to say?
where are
So,
you? So you're
where
still in
we're at, we're still funding. We've got we started doing some make ready work. We had to put a lift into the building for ADA compliance, so we're still able to use parts of the building while we're doing it. So we did that with the Jumpstart grant, and we're moving along. But we're expecting we're going to start. The roof needs some work, so we're going to do the roof. Start on top. We're going everything over the top. We have some historic elements in the building we're not able to touch, so we're trying to do everything from the outside, which helps me. We're going to lots of continuous insulation, or appropriate amount, but we're not bothering with cavity insulation because we don't want to affect some of the interior in some cases. So we're playing with that. So we're going to kind of wrap the building. We're starting with the roof. We're going to then hit the walls. We'll do all our air sealing around and go from there. So we'll see how that all plays out. But we're in the infancy of this project right now. We're getting there.
in there. Yeah. It's really nice to see Passive House being incorporated into kind of like historical renovations and not just renovation work, right? Because it feels like everything feels like a little bit more of a challenge. So this is kind of like the challenge, the pinnacle of challenge.
Right. Luckily in our case, certainly renovations are going to be more difficult to air seal than a new building. It's just the reality of it. In our case, because of the nature, we're literally going to be able to wrap the building with a new enclosure, in essence, that's well air sealed. So a lot of the challenges that come with an existing building get mitigated a bit. I'm not saying they don't exist, but it's a little bit better than we would expect. It's not quite as easy as a new construction, but it's not too bad for a renovation as far as it goes. So we got lucky in that regard.
Definitely. Does anyone have any questions? You can feel free to unmute and just ask them. What is the? Oh, go ahead.
We're getting we're getting some responses from my imperfectly crafted impromptu poll, which is great. So it's good to see those. Yeah, it's great.
I was going to ask, what's the existing exterior cladding system?
It's like stucco.
It is stucco.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I know like that always is tough with a landmarked building.
It's not landmark, right? So we're not in New York City, so it's not landmark. Technically not a historic building. We've been playing with the idea of putting it on the register, but it's probably not worth what it would take to do. We're not sure.
Yeah,
There's an idea, but our idea is we still, if it's historic or landmark or whatever, we need to preserve our building stock. We need good buildings that are out there. We need to find a way to keep them going. And like I said, the fact that this building, it's like weird. It's like almost in the middle of a field. There's just a building that everything got developed around, and this thing stayed for 100 years. So we're going to do our best to make sure it lasts another 100 years so that people know it. And the fact that it's a community center is just awesome, because we want to spread the word. We want to show people that, this is achievable. How can you do it? Here, come, we'll show you. Here's our living laboratory, right?
Yeah. No, it's really fascinating. I'm just gonna put a picture in the chat. You're right, not a lot of windows does make it a little easier.
Yeah. And it's a theater, right? We don't really want windows in the theater or in the gallery. Right. So part of the building will be an art gallery. They do art events and sales and things like that. And part's going to be a performance theater, 110 seats or so. So you don't want uncontrolled light there. We don't want the windows there. And for the art center, we need the wall space. So we don't want so it all kind of works out pretty well for us as far as it goes. Yeah.
This is Brian from Canada Design. I just wanted to echo Shivali's comment about how exciting it is to see Passive House merged with these historical renovations and how it can be applied. I think, using the old adage that the most sustainable building is the one that already exists, I think the real future is how do we retrofit our existing buildings going forward for better resilience and better efficiency. So I just want to echo that, second that, Shivali. And I think another project that's different, but is a renovation retrofit. There's a school in the West Burbs of Chicago that we saw at PhiusCon 2023 or 2. That was an amazing retrofit of a 1960s elementary school into a very resilient, very high performing building that serves this community very well. So these kind of examples, I think, are really exciting to see. So thank you, Neil, for sharing this with us.
Thanks, Brian. You'll be at PhiusCon this year? You coming to join us?
I was looking at taking the train from St. Louis to Milwaukee yesterday. So try to find the most sustainable way to get there, right? Avoid plane, avoid driving, and I can work on the train. So out here where the cars dominate the Midwest, I will take the train.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thanks, Brian. And I agree, like it's always really great to see that the variety of projects, right? That sometimes we would kind of just say like, it's going to be too much work. Let's not even think about it. But there's all these things that we can learn from one another. And that's why I think these opportunities to talk more about these projects are so valuable for all of us. I, normally don't do this, but Neil, since you have people touring your building and you are actively trying to get money from them so you can get this project done, if there are not a lot of questions, I think we're happy to end this early. Zach, Kim, what do you guys think? Let's let Neil do the good work that he's doing.
Yeah, it sounds like he has an agenda. Yeah, it is an important work to do. Indeed, unless there are any other questions, maybe just pause for a moment in case there's a last one and then close it up. I think we're good.
I
Well, thank you,
agree.
Neil.
And Neil, I think that we're all just kind of sitting here in stunned silence because none of us had really thought about doing this before. So that's what I think is happening.
Good deal. Well, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate you taking the time and allowing me to speak with you folks. It's been a real pleasure. If anybody has any questions offline, reach out. I'm here all the time. Be more than happy to help. Anything I could do for the community, I'm there for you.
Can't wait to take a tour of this building when you finally get started.
100%. 100%. We'll definitely get you out here. Say hey to John for me.
I will. Thanks all.
Bye,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Yeah, thanks everybody.
Be
Have a good
well.
day. Thanks, Neil. See ya.
Thank you.